Parents of parent stars prostitutes, how did you react knowing your child career choice? When Stoya was voted most beautiful woman in Nick, she was asked about this. She said her parents were supportive, but her dad has a hard time looking at PRN now because he always sees his daughter's flashlight ads on the side of the websites. What's wrong with his daughter selling flashlights? Recently, in a conversation about how anyone could afford rent in our town, my neighbor very casually mentioned that her daughter doesn't have much trouble with it because she dances part-time in nearby town. They seem to have a great relationship. She comes to visit her mom several times a week. I wouldn't have ever guessed that was what she does to pay the bills if her mom hadn't mentioned it. She's very timid. Edit. So this topic caused a huge fight with my girlfriend tonight. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. She thinks I'm a disgusting person for saying I would support our child if they chose to take their clothes off for money. Mom. The creepy neighbor just IFK'd me again like he always does. Just act timid and walk away. Not a parent, but my mom is a parent star. Well, ex-parent star, and she does other internet sex work now. We have a weird relationship and I try not to get involved, but I don't really care what she does. She kinda ruined the relationship she had with her parents, my grandparents, and they don't speak, though she does speak to her mom occasionally. Edit. My grandparents, who are divorced, don't not speak to her because of her line of work. Rather because she is a shitty person. Edit 2. I'm assuming it would be bad taste to ask for a link. I was in a not so nice strip bar one time where the girls go the extra mile. A girl comes up to me and asks me to buy her a drink. We get to talking and she says I may know her brother that grew up in the same neighborhood I did. She says his name and it's my half brother who grew up with me. My mom dated her dad when I was young and before she was born. She was quite surprised when I said he's my brother too. I'm an ex-meth user. I was spending $400 a month on my addiction. When I became broke, I had to resort to other ways to make money. So I became a gigolo. I only did my dealers first. But then word got out and I started getting more customers. I never knew I'd enter this industry. Especially because I was a huge homophobe at the beginning. Anyway. One day I went down to a client's house and he asked me if I would stuff tangerines in his anus and eat them. I sat down and thought, how the FCK did I get here? Managed to escape when he was in the shower. And decided to turn my life around. It's been over 4 years since I last took any sort of drugs. And I'm now living in a place much further away than my original location so as not to be reminded of my previous life, or customers. It's been over 4 years since I last took any sort of drugs. But when's the last time you had a tangerine? Not a parent. But my friend who does webcam shows says her mother was initially upset until she told her about the ridiculous amount of money she's making. All of a sudden her mother was pretty okay with it. That's because all the morals in the world can't pay rent. Edit. Holy crap, my inbox. This is a complete reverse. But this happened to the girl I was dating in high school. She walked in on her dad recording himself taking it up the ass. Apparently it was for some mail order type company. She got a car out of it. Considering the money he made selling his ass play videos. So we'd always say her father worked his ass off to get that car for her. This just makes me think of poor Lawrence Fishburne. His daughter is a PRN star. Well, maybe not star. His daughter does PRN. Not a parent, but a girl I went to school with uploaded a video of her giving some guy a BJ on the app Vine. Word got around and someone told her parents. Parents pulled her out of school and she went MIA on all social media platforms and apparently was being homeschooled. Her parents were religious. Pretty late to this thread and not a parent, but my brother is currently working as a stripper. My parents didn't like it at first, but he makes a lot of money and was able to move out of the family home while getting his degree, so they're now okay with it. The rest of the family doesn't know. Though. He even got me a job at his club while I was in college and I worked there for a little while as a stage tech guy. It's a funny world behind the scenes. Lem tell ya. When we moved into our current home, the neighbor had a daughter about 12 yo. Nice girl. By the time she was 16 she was out of control. Had a kid and moved out, leaving the kid behind for the most part. Showed up every once in a while with a dude driving a Beamer or some such. I think basically she was dropping off child support. Then a year or two later, now about 3-4 years ago, a CNN special focused on the lives of 3 or 4 strippers and she was one of them. The mom was outwardly disgusted by it. Never really talked about the daughter except to sway her off. After the CNN thing her daughter never was spoken of again. Well, I sure as hell didn't spank them. My mom found a video on my laptop once of me sucking someone's dick. I hope she doesn't post her story, haha. Username checks out. I was the hooker, not the mom. Basically, I was in a very abusive relationship and I was a Craigslist hooker full time. My boyfriend encouraged it until I developed feelings for a client. And he outed me to my mom. My mom called the cops and told them I was maniacal and suicidal. Basically, she kept me out of jail by chalking up my behavior to severe depression and anxiety. It still hurt. When I was woken up at 3 AM by 6 cops surrounding me, they handcuffed me and let me grab nothing. I was a small female in a 1-layer spaghetti strapped dress. And I was cold and crying and my mom was leaning against the wall crying and doing nothing and I was angry as all hell and she did an okay thing but god it still hurts. Edit. Thanks everyone for the sympathies. I am now in an awesome relationship. Have an okay relationship with my mom. We have SLTTY Tooth Fairy. SLTTY Stephanie. But where is the damn SLTTY Pumpkin? Knew an acquaintance who got into escorting. Ended up with some scary pimp type dude with face tats. The whole 9. She said she didn't bang them and was just arm candy. But pimp dude muscled her into blackmailing one of the Johns. Turned out he was a construction magnate. Pillar of the religious community. Family man. All that. Well, pimp dude threatened that if he didn't pay up big time they would reveal his love of escorts to his wife and family. So, he killed himself and left a confessional suicide note. Pimp dude jailed. Girl on probation for years. Dude's family in ruins. They all lived happily never after. My ex is an exotic dancer and has been for the past 3 to 4 years. Her mom's not exactly happy but she doesn't treat her any different. Her mom is just glad her daughter is healthy and being safe. I had dinner with them about 3 weeks ago and her mom even shared a few jokes about it with her and asked her how it was going. Came clean to parent siblings about my cam general escort side job during a family meeting. They just noticed how I was always busy and unavailable and wanted to know what was up. Everyone is actually really supportive. Main concern being my safety. I now text them when I'm going to be seeing and finished with a client so they know something is up if they don't hear back from me in the time allotted. My dad also set up security cameras, lights, window bars just in case of stalkers or psychos. I can't tell if that's really cool of your family or really weird. I can't imagine something like that happening in my life. So I have no point of reference on this one. Interesting stuff. That's for sure. Is it just like, hey dad, I'm gonna go surely entertain this guy. He has me for 3 hours. Text you when I'm out. I couldn't imagine being a father and going through that. Girl I went to high school with took her mother on the Jerry Springer show to tell her that she was not shooting Kmart ads in California but hardcore PRN instead. Her mother must have been so relieved to hear the good news. So my mom has worked in the same hospital since the early 1990s. Doing various things like booking and registration, selling TVs, and taking patients to and from different places within the hospital. The latter is known as an escort. I was watching Dr. Phil and I was probably about 8 years old. The episode was about a mom who was an escort who supported her kids that way. Needless to say, I asked her why she used to be an escort. She then informed me of what her job was. Awkward. Sorry mom. A 15-year-old girl at my daughter's school let some guy film her doing a 5-man gangbang. Some idiot airdropped the video in the cafeteria. Someone sent it to her parents. Her mom literally pulled her out of school by the hair of her head. Dude who airdropped it was arrested for distribution of child pornography. Girl went to live with her aunt in California. I have no information about the dudes who had sex with her, but some were apparently adults. We had a talk with our daughters. We told them we wouldn't be upset if they had safe sex with a bunch of guys, but we'd be pissed the FCK off if they let some arsehole film it. Edit. Both our daughters are of the age of consent. They can do what they want, as long as they do it safely. Girl went to live with her aunt in Copy pasting my response from an identical thread. I am on the doing PRN side. My parents are extremely religious and figureheads in their evangelical community, and run into conflict with atheists a lot. One of the atheists found my PRN, figured out who I was, and managed to somehow broadcast it on my dad's screen during a live interview. Edit. Apparently his reaction was throwing things at the computer and swearing. Apostrophe. And that's how my parents found out I did PRN equals. My mom called me up crying. I never thought of PRN star as a career choice. Nearly every story you hear for PRN star always seems like it starts with modeling. You should watch Hot Girls Wanted on Netflix. It's a great documentary about girls entering the amateur PRN industry and they're stoked at first. My older sister did a couple live cam shows that went viral, and my dad found out and was a real jerk about it. Oh boy. I am eagerly awaiting answers to this one. When I was probably around 7 or 8, I asked my mom if she loved me and she said yes. I asked if she still would if I became a hooker as an adult and she paused for a moment before saying that she'd always love me and would understand that I'd have to do what I had to do to pay rent and keep food on the table. I don't know what the hell made me ask because I wasn't even sure what exactly a hooker was. I just knew they were bad. 18 now. Not a hooker. Going to college, hopefully, in the fall for computer science and art. My parents had mixed feelings. I was starting school to be a doctor. I wanted to work the emergency room. Then a disease showed up causing me to become disabled. At 17, school was an impossibility and the types of work I wanted to do were flushed. I couldn't continue vanilla jobs due to my body shutting down. I joined Chatterbot as a webcam model the day I turned 18 so I could afford medication and met wonderful and very supportive people. TBH, I was terrified but there was nothing else I could do. I was forced into sex work for survival but ended up loving it. It pays my bills, funds my hobbies, medication, and allows me to take as many sick days as I need to cope with my illness. So yeah. My parents are glad I'm able to support myself and surround myself by lots of loving people. They were just excited for the first doctor of the family. Haha. I always notice the way people post I'm not what OP asked for, but I'll post this anyway in just about every Reddit thread requesting specific individuals. I want to read about their anecdotes, not yours. How has no one linked the Mia Malcover video of her bringing her mom to the set and giving a BJ right in front of her, while the mom is still on cam in the background? Edit. That reminds me of the father who was so supportive of his daughter being a PRN star that he would oil her up and shave her down himself before films and photo shoots. I think that it might have only been his stepdaughter, but that doesn't make it much better. Make all the jokes you want. This was a nightmare for me as a mother. I recently found out through the grapevine that my son is doing BDSM videos where he's restrained and stimulated by mature women. When I confronted him, he had the gall to blame me. Apparently because I used to help him out when he broke both his arms, he developed a fetish and figured he might as well make a few bucks off it. You know, I always found my daughter hot. That is why I elected somebody who shares my views. Somebody who gets me. Does taking pics videos of my cat count as a PSSY cam? My girlfriend is a PRN star. She's going to be so pissed when she finds out. I just learned the other day that the granddaughter of the people that lived across from my parents, whom I remember her as a toddler, grew up and became a stripper. The years had certainly been kind. I hadn't seen her for about 30 years and forgot about her and brother. The grandparents died in 97 and 08 and the house demolished and replaced. She got messed up on the nose candy. Got involved with the wrong crowd. In and out of jail and got involved with this guy who killed a cop a year ago. That guy was killed by police. This girl's brother just died from a fentanyl overdose at 37. My girlfriend had a teenage daughter I helped raise like my own. When the kid was 17, her mom and I split. Shortly after her 18th birthday she started doing PRN. At first I was whited with paternal rage. But it was out of my hands. It's been a few years now. I finally watched her in action. She's kind of skanky and strung out now. Not the sweet kid I knew. Tragic. But she's not under my roof anymore. So I just laugh it off as one of life's many unfortunate turns. Edit. No. I won't be posting any links. It's her mother I despise. Not the girl. I finally watched her in action. Love how the two comments at the top coming from SX workers both have the word SLTTY on their username. Ask Reddit title. Parents of porn stars prostitutes. Like 90% of the answers. Not a parent but. I feel like some of you people are missing the point of this. Not a parent of a porn star or a sibling or one myself or a parent at all or an adult, but I saw a deer outside my school today. Reading some of these comments makes me worried about having kids. What if one day your 18-year-old daughter confesses to you that she was banged by a bunch of dudes who came all over her and now it is on the internet? My advice: never have children. Hey dear scroller, come and take a seat, we offer popcorns and soda. Not a parent of a porn star or a sibling or one myself or a parent at all or an adult. But. Okay. Real parent here. His younger brother found out about it on a website. His younger brother couldn't keep it from us and eventually told us. He was actually coming home from his college for a long weekend. My wife and I decided it would be best to talk to him about it like adults. When he came home that weekend, we let him rest in his room for a while, then called him out. We discussed beforehand why he would do this. We have enough money and we always made it available when he needed it for an emergency. He came out of his room and we told him what happened. He looked ashamed and we told him to just tell us why. He was sobbing and we were trying to be supportive. I didn't want him to feel bad. He began saying something about this being serious. I was asking what? Serious relationship? Serious career? He breathed and finally told us. It was a life-changing moment. OP. Didn't put a serious tag. My mum cried when I told her I worked in a brothel. She cried a lot. Then she got angry. Then she offered me $10. 000 to stop. I refused because I don't do it just for the money. I don't have a drug or alcohol addiction and I was never abused. I just enjoy making people happy and SX is what I'm good at. She then asked me to move out so she doesn't know where I am and won't worry. She said she still loves me though, so I've got that going for me at least. I don't have a drug or alcohol addiction. Said user Avidrinker. I don't think Redditors are old enough demographically to answer this one. Probably going to get a bunch of notter. But